G'day. Welcome. Welcome to this live stream. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Doing great. How you doing, Russ?
Yeah, good. Really excited. Thanks for joining. Really excited to be bringing Garland Technology to the Australian audience. So, welcome today.
Absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to talking to everybody today and having a good chat about OT security.
Yeah, collecting data from those complicated networks. So, where are you based, Chris?
I'm out of Buffalo, New York, and I'm actually down in our Texas facility. So, um, if anybody's curious, Garland Technology. The name actually came from a town from Garland, Texas. So we're doing our engineering, manufacturing, logistics, all that stuff is actually right out of Richardson, Texas now, which is northern Dallas. So that's where I'm sitting today.
Yeah, cool. And for those wondering, I'm based in Western Australia. Bit of distance between us, probably
That's right.
tens and tens of thousands of k's.
That, that's
Awesome.
uh,
So,
that's what makes us great, though,
yeah,
right? We can
yeah.
have a conversation and talk with our customers and partners, and have a great live event like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so today, everyone, we're going to be talking about data collection across OT, critical infrastructure networks. As you all know, it can be quite complicated at times. The Secolve team have noticed difficulties with this as well as data collection and monitoring platforms are implemented. We have noticed that some customers across sectors have been expecting more. They seem to be missing data. So today we're going to be diving into how to basically address that problem. Chris has created with Garland Technology an amazing solution to get every single piece of data from those complex networks. We'll dive into that today. We'll probably be around for 20 minutes. Please ask any questions that pop to mind in the chat. We'll be monitoring that closely. Um, and after the session, we'll also have opportunities to answer questions as we post this to our LinkedIn feed as well.
Right.
So,
And
Chris, yeah,
one of the things
go
I was
for
going to
it.
say about looking at the data is just you know, I always like to start with a very simple comment is that the truth is in the packets. And so, we're going to be talking about, today, obviously you said, looking at how we get those packets. So I just like to mention that because it's so important because, you know, whenever you're doing security, even performance monitoring or any type of forensics, right? The truth is in the packets. And so excited to dive in today with you, Russ, about how can you get that traffic from the network.
Awesome. Yeah, so Chris, maybe let's start with you just introducing yourself and your role.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Chris Bihary. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Garland Technology, and so we're actually going in on 13 years now. And personally, I've been in uh, the network tap packet broker data diode business for about 20 years. I had a previous company that was also a manufacturer that designed this type of technology. And you know, not that I want to take too long, but got into IT in '93, and at a reseller side. So I had my own reseller company in Michigan, and so doing everything from physical infrastructure, structure cabling, and one of the things I did in the '90s is used to do a lot of deployments of 911 systems in the U.S. So calling for emergency services. So when I started designing networks and really getting involved in making sure that when you picked up the phone, call 911, that that was critical and had to go through. So I've been designing resilient networks on the reseller side for a very long time, and then been in this space now for you know uh, almost 20 years now. So uh, it's a very exciting needed uh, technology, and we're really about kind of the foundation of solutions. So really excited to talk with you today, and again with partners, and really excited to be growing this business in Australia as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly, everyone, my name's Russell Thomas. I work for Secolve as the regional sales manager. I've got several years' experience working for managed security service providers. A lot of my time has been spent finding the data, trying to find the data across these complicated networks, pulling them into SIEM solutions, etc. So really excited today to understand and discover how to truly capture 100% of network traffic from these networks. So Chris, yeah, do you mind what drove you to set up Garland Technology?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I've been in tech since '93. Um, so been on the reseller side, working with end users, and I got involved in 2005 with you know opening a business in the U.S. Selling network tap solutions, and um, so my partner Jerry Dillard. So Jerry and I are the owners. Jerry's our CTO, co-founder, as I mentioned, based out of originally Garland, Texas. And so him and I, we're working together, and his expertise is the engineering. Some of his background is actually working for Lockheed Martin, and actually building products within fighter jets and stuff for the Defense Department. And so his expertise was building hardware, and he actually invented the first bypass tap for deploying inline tools. So we developed a relationship, and we both decided to create Garland in 2011, and create a company that's very focused on helping deploy security and monitoring tools within computer networks. So you look at our tagline, it's see every bit, byte, and packet. And our belief is that that it should be easy, simple, cost effective to be able to deploy your security and monitoring tools. And it's like anything, right? If Russ, if you're my doctor and I give you a call and
Hmm.
say, what's wrong with me, and right, the phone's breaking up, uh, I may get lucky, and you give me the right thing to do. But the reality is, you know, it's important that we really focus on guaranteeing that we're getting all that packet level data to your security tools. Right, there's a big investment there. So so that's really what drove us to combine forces, create Garland. And the OT space is kind of interesting because that was probably about 10 years ago. We actually had a customer that and one of our tech partners that was doing a deployment uh, in a large utility company. And the tech company that we were working with was going to do a very large sale of about 300 security sensors. And
Hmm.
when they went to do the final proof of concept, they realized that the spam ports were bi-directional. So the gentleman who ran biz dev gave me a call and said, hey Chris, is there any way you can just create a piece of hardware that you can bring the spam port in, make a copy, and remove any physical way of going in the reverse direction? So talk to Jerry, and within about 6 to 8 weeks, we spun a new product, got it to the customer, solved the problem. And that's actually what got us into critical infrastructure.
Yeah.
With our tapping and technology. And we never called that a data diode. We just called it, right, taking care of our customers. So
Mm.
so ever since then, we've been very focused on developing hardware for helping uh, you know uh, OT, critical infrastructure, everything from transport to utilities, substations, maritime, ways to more effectively connect up their security tools.
You mentioned a few different technology terms there. So, what exactly is a network tap?
Yeah, so network taps allow you to get all the traffic from the wire. So you may hear the term wire tap. And so very simply put, you have two network devices, and that could be a router switch, that could be a PLC switch. Um, so let's just use an example. Let's just say you have a 1 gig copper link. So you have a router and switch connected, and with a patch cable. And if you want to get, guarantee that you're going to see all the traffic between those two devices, you can insert a network tap. So a network tap will have 4 ports on it. and they have, let's just say the A and B port, which is your live network. So you would take your router, plug it in the A port, and then take the switch, plug it in the B port. And being a copper tap, it's power, but let's just say you plug the tap in with no power. The first thing that's going to happen is your two devices are going to connect. So that's very important, right? With no power, you're going to the two devices will connect, and then when you power up the tap directly from the wire, we're going to copy every packet. So again, guaranteeing that you're going to see everything, and that includes, CRC errors, any type of, anything that's, coming across that wire. So a couple neat things about it is, right, the tap has no IP address, no MAC
Mhm.
address, invisible to the network, and guarantees every packet. So you know, when you look at, best practices, if you want to ensure that you're getting all the traffic, this is a great way to do it. And, another thing with critical infrastructures is you want to make sure there's no backflow, right, backdoor to the,
Yeah.
to the network. So when we send the traffic to the monitoring ports, we actually don't allow, there's no physical way to go in the reverse direction. So we're accomplishing several things. We're getting the data, we're providing every packet, and we're doing it in a non-intrusive way. And the monitoring tool that you're using, there's no way to go in the reverse direction as well. So
Mm.
it's a great way to uh, deploy your security sensors within these environments.
Sounds like an adversary's absolute worst nightmare. Nowhere to hide on the network, huh?
Absolutely. Yep. We'll keep telling everybody, right? Truce in the packets.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the difference between a spam port and a network tap then?
Right. So, when you look at deploying security tools, right, there's a couple of methodologies. So, we were obviously just talking about a network tap. So, another method that a lot of people use is, turning out a span or mirror port. So, if you're not familiar with that, if you have a managed switch, uh, they have the ability generally to use one or two ports that you can configure, and you can have the ability to say, I want to see, this traffic, from these ports on the switch. And, so, a lot of times it's like, hey, this is free. This is great, right? I can get access to my data. So there's definitely some, buyer beware there. Absolutely. Like if you're not doing any monitoring of your network and you have the ability to set up a span mirror port, it's a great way to get started. And, we can talk about that a little later, but, things you want to be aware of is that, if there are any errors or physical errors, the spam ports are going to drop that. Uh,
Mhm.
the spam port isn't meant to be, a permanent guaranteed access to the traffic. So if your switch gets busy, it is low priority. So, you're going to drop packets. So, if you look at, you're having a denial of service attack, your switch is getting really busy. It's actually your security tool is going to see less data. Um, so when you look at, the issue of, drop packets, dropping physical errors, could change the timing. So, really depending on, what you're deploying and how important it is for you to get all the traffic, you want to take that in consideration. And then, it is something that is configurable. So,
Mhm.
when you're doing monitoring, a lot of times in these critical infrastructure environments, people want to make sure that there's not a human error that could make a mistake, right? I could go in there, configure the spam port, and do it wrong, right? Someone could go
Mm.
back and, you see it all the time is, hey, I'm going to, unplug the security tool, do some troubleshooting, change the configuration, put it back. And, so that could happen. Are you going to, put a process together if you're using span ports? Every time you update your iOS or your firmware on your switch, are you going to put a process together that you're going to audit your configuration, your span port every single time? Um, so I always say, get started with span, use span in environments, but start thinking about critical locations and places you want to put network taps that's guaranteed. It's a permanent device in line, right? It's 365, 7 by 24. You're always going to guarantee the data. Spam ports, there's a lot of risks that you're introducing uh,
Mhm.
to making sure you get that traffic to your security tools.
Thanks. A lot of reliance on the network team and having the right policies and procedures
Yep.
and operations by the sounds of it. Just a reminder to the audience and those listening today, please ask any questions in the chat, either here on the live stream or even post the event. We'd love to answer and help answer all those questions you may have. So Chris, why do we need network taps in OT? What challenges I guess are these network taps solutioning? I know that sometimes flat networks are also a
Right.
challenge.
Yeah, I mean, there's several areas where one is sometimes spam mirror ports aren't available. So again, right, it's always a balance of you know the amount of risk you want to take. But in some cases, there's just some blind areas within your network. And what I mean by that is, you may have unmanaged switches. So, are you going to wait, 6 to 12 months to roll out all new switches and think about security in a year? Or you want to be able to address it today? So, in areas where you have unmanaged switches, wiretaps are really the only methodology to, have the ability to gain access to that packet level data. You also
Mhm.
run into environments that, certain parts of your manufacturing or certain parts of your, for utilities, and, maybe they outsource, sections of their equipment, right? So maybe you have, Honeywell or ABB or Schneider Electric, right? They're managing the environment. So you may actually not get access to, the ability to, um, you know, have the ability to, configure a spanner mirror port. So, in that case, again, by inserting this wiretap, it's going to give you the ability to get that data. And, I do see we got a question here from
Yeah.
Barry Anderson. So, do you see a lot of span and tap to avoid a tap failure causing an outage? Uh, so, one of the things with taps, I mentioned earlier is that you know part of a tap is to be non-intrusive, right? So, um, if the tap, uh, you know, were to lose power, someone pull, let's just say it's a power device, right? And they pull the plug. So the nature of a tap is that, it has fail safe or it could be completely passive. So the concept is that, that's why, when you install a tap, the recommendation is doing it with no power, and your devices are going to link. So, think of the device, as a piece of wire. And we do have some tap technologies that actually have no power, so they're completely passive. So these are the things that we want to consider, obviously, in these environments, is that, we're making sure we're not introducing, a failure point by putting the tap in. So,
Mhm.
great question.
Mm.
It's one of those things that it's a strategy. And, I always like to say, right, that this is a journey. It's not, generally as cookie cutter as, an IT deployment that, right, hey, I got my data center, here's all my racks, and, everything's fully documented. There's a standard everywhere. We find that, in a lot of environments, doing deployments for, manufacturing facilities, right? Each plant is run by an individual that, you know, they may put in their own switch, infrastructure, some of their own equipment. Uh, some of the machinery, right, is run by, an outsourced party that, again, won't allow you to touch some of that equipment. And so again, to me, it's always a balance of figuring out, where to span, where to tap, um, you know, where do you get started in the network? Do let's get
Mhm.
started at the north south, and let's start, you know, going farther down towards the asset level. And it's it's one of those things that, we definitely want to, you know, work with our customers like we do to, help solve some of these problems. And
Mm.
and tapping and looking at how you can centralize it too, because we can also help really save money on deployments. Because
Mhm.
one of our goals when we're trying to architect a solution is figuring out where we're going to get these data points, but also how do we centralize that and centralize your sensors. And because again, the value for you know security companies deploying these devices, the value is getting that packet level data. And that's our core focus, right? We're not making
Yeah.
security software or performance monitoring. We're really here to be part of the team and
Mhm.
work very closely on architecting resilience, uh, resilient access to the data.
Yeah, I know our OT architects have had some great success with your taps recently. Um, I think ultimately you're looking to capture that east-west traffic, right? Place the taps in the right network segments in the right areas to get that data you're after. So we've
Right.
seen some great success. Um, yeah, we're able to supply the Australian industry with Garland Technology as well. So if anyone needs any support with that, feel free to reach out.
Yeah,
Now,
because
Chris.
I was just say on
Mm,
deployments we were chatting too. I was at OT conference S4 about a week ago, and um, talking to a lot of customers and partners. And one of the interesting things is that you know a lot of people who have started deploying is still in their infancy stage, right? They might have put some devices in and they're starting to monitor north south, but a
mm,
lot of folks I talk to, they're maybe only seeing 15% of their data. um,
wow.
a lot of people are very, very early days, and they may have started uh, even just doing proof of concepts or just starting a small deployment. uh, but a lot of customers out there, they're very early days, and
Mhm,
they're really very blind to the majority of their network.
mm,
If you look at it, your Purdue model, right?
mm.
Really gaining access to that, at the asset layer. You know, it's something that a lot of people really don't have a strong visibility into, and they
Yeah,
know, and they look at it as being a struggle, right? And really
yeah,
figuring out ways
yeah,
to you know get access, but do it in uh, a manageable and cost
yeah.
effective way. So it's a real struggle out there that a
It's a
lot of
really good
people.
point. Like it doesn't matter where you are with your OT security journey, right? Like you can deploy the network monitoring solutions, but there's always areas for improvement and there's always more data to grab. So these taps, I imagine, can be deployed at any time in a phased approach, no matter where you are on that journey. Just give me a picture, Chris. On these actual devices, they're quite rugged, aren't they? I imagine you've deployed them in some really interesting places.
Yeah, we've done some neat stuff. We actually had built taps that went on like tanks and Humvees, and had a pretty neat use case of you know looking at monitoring communications, uh, in a deployment situation, and stuff with maritime. And you do run into some really interesting stuff. Probably about, I don't know, maybe 6 7 years ago, maybe been right around that time, we had some requirements on ships, um, that they need to get access to 100 base FX and LX. And so what the solution was is, I'm going to you know break the link. I'm going to put in a media converter, and I'm going to go from 100 base FX to 100 mag, and then I'm going to insert a tap, and then I'm going to aggregate the data and then send it to the monitoring port. So you know, we did that, as a couple use cases, and then, we said, this is just not a good way to do it. So we ended up putting in designing a passive tap that, is 100 meg, 100 base FX or LX, so multi-mode or single mode. And then we convert that to copper gig, because there's no NIC cards or tools that
Mhm.
can read that. So those are just some examples of, you run into these challenges, and we figured out ways to put all that into a small box that can be DIN railed. And so those are other things, for those types of environments, not just putting things together to meet higher temp ranges, and but putting power locks on, making sure all our portable taps can be DIN railed, making
Yeah.
sure those taps can actually be AC or DC 24 volt. And we had a transport company that they didn't know what they're going to run into when they were deploying some of our copper data diodes. So we included, each power source in the box, so they just went on site, and when they got there, they could figure it out. And again, trying to meet the requirements that you just don't see in IT. And we one of the cool things, we did a thing for this is a while back. With it's before CyberX got bought by Microsoft, and we did a project where water treatment stuff, and all 100 base FX again, and LX. And uh, they were supposed to put something in to monitor actually water intake to the Super Bowl. And they were last minute, they were like, "There's no way for us to get data." Someone called me up, and we had to overnight a bunch of units. And so just some cool, really neat stuff. And we love working on this stuff. And uh,
Mm.
it's again, this is our focus. We're also doing a lot of product development in this space as well. So just an exciting time for us to be part of a really a great community. That's one of the things that I'm finding, is that this is a community that everybody is willing to work together. We're we're obviously all in business to make money, but in critical infrastructure, it's important we're all working together, collaborating. And it's good for everybody, right? So that
Yeah.
is one thing that I'm finding is just awesome, is the the community that is involved in OT. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of people that have been doing this a long time, and there's a lot of expertise. But there's also, as we know, right, there's a lack of resources that have this experience. So
Oh yeah. Yeah.
we definitely have to team up. And we're a piece of the pie, right?
Hmm.
We're part of that foundation. And obviously it's a critical piece. But it's an area where, right, we all have to work together, and uh, figure some of these problems out, and see how we can help customers, right, get more visibility, get deeper in their network, help deploy faster. And that's a lot
Hmm.
of areas that we really assist in. And that's why we're partner up, right? You guys have that deep experience in the OT space. And uh, with the different industries. And you guys have feet on ground, and to help with designs. And so it's important that we're all teaming up here, and uh, you know help solve these problems, because they're real problems. And so
Yeah.
it's a really a great if people aren't familiar with this space, or you're in the IT space, it's a really it's a great area to get involved in. And we definitely need we need more people you know moving over to the OT side, right? Because there's definitely a
Oh yeah.
shortage.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head there. We definitely need more people, but community as well. The Aussie OT community is really strong, collaborative, and we're all here to support each other. Definitely need more skills from the IT space, so I'll definitely a supporter of encouraging that. Chris, thanks for today. It's been
Yep.
great. I know next Wednesday, the 20th of March, we have an upcoming webinar with Nozomi Networks as well. We've got Dean joining us. He's a local Aussie expert in Nozomi, deploying those appliances and that technology. And what we'll do is actually elaborate on what's driving a lot of the energy, a lot of the work, and there's a lot of demand and a lot of work happening in the critical infrastructure space here in Australia, and I know the rest of the world. But we'll explain to the audience why, and really looking forward to diving into Garland Technology some more next week. I know you're going to share some
Yep.
architecture diagrams and show us in depth how it works.
Yeah, no, definitely looking forward to be on the show with you and Dean next week. And definitely going to have some fun. And looking forward to continue to work with you guys. And obviously the Australian market, excited to be doing what we're doing now. And it's really expanding. And So it's great to work together.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Chris, and thanks everyone. See you later.
Excellent. Yep. Thanks, Russ. Thanks, everybody.